Good morning, everybody. I wanted to just start out the service this morning. We had sad news in the fellowship this week. Last Sunday, two of our matriarchs died. Luella Newstrom, who was a founding member of the fellowship, and Donna Kopnick, who was a longtime member, and both of these women have contributed to the fellowship and to their communities beyond measure, and we're very sad at their passing. As we usually do, we'll set aside the first couple minutes of the service to kind of honor and remember them. And for that, today, since we don't have a live musician with us for the music, I made a video to share with you all with some photos of Luella and Donna. So if you all just join me in a few minutes of honoring Donna and Luella.
Okay. I'll get off YouTube then. That's YouTube, I think.
Of life work on. Dum 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 dum. I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. You used to rock me in the cradle of your arms. You said you'd hold me till the pains of life were gone. You said you'd comfort me in times like these, and now I need you. Now I need you. And you are gone. I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. Since you've gone and left me, there's been so little beauty, but I know I saw it clearly through your eyes. Now the world outside is such a cold and bitter place. Here inside I have few things that will console. And when I try to hear your voice above the storms of life, then I remember all the things that I was told. I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. I think on the things that made me feel so wonderful when I was young. I think on the things that made me laugh, make me dance, make me sing. I think on the things that make me grow into a being full of pride. I think on these things, for they are true. I am sitting here one wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. I thought that you were gone, but now I know you're with me. You are the voice that whispers all I need to hear. I know a please, a thank you, and a smile will take me far. I know that I am you and you are me and we are one. I know that who I am is numbered in each grain of sand. I know that I've been blessed again and over again. I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. I am sitting here wanting memories to teach me to see the beauty in the world through my own eyes. Dum 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 dum.
Well, thank you, Laura, for putting that together for us for the start today. That was great. What a good way to help remember. And welcome to Minnesota Valley Universalist Fellowship. My name is Tom Bergmann, and our guest speaker, our speaker today is Ed James. He's going to be telling us what our grandparents knew. And I do want to give Richard a big shout for helping with the technology. Hopefully it's all going to work. So we welcome you here, whether you are a visitor or whether you've been coming for many years. We welcome your curiosity and your questions. We welcome your joys, your sorrows, your challenges and your wounds. Certainly our summer services are a little bit different, somewhat more relaxed, but now also taking place on Zoom, as I believe you all know. Still, we hope that in this hour, that you find something that you need, whether it's from the stillness of a moment of silence, insight from a reflection, inspiration from a song, or the camaraderie of community. So whatever brought you into this cyberspace here today, that may be kind of weighing you down, leave it behind. Whatever you're carrying that's keeping you distracted or caught up in shame or guilt, hopelessness, leave it behind. So for this short time, just let go. Come then into this space with open hearts. Come into this space with a soul that has remembered how to be tender. Come into this space with a renewed hope for this country and this world. Come into this space ready to build a world that we've always been worthy of and have always dreamed of. So come, let us be here in spirit together. I actually don't have any announcements this morning that I need to make. Does anybody else? I don't know, Jean, do you have to say anything about the auction? I guess that would be the only thing that's coming up is the.
Okay, thank you, Tom.
Oh, yeah.
And yes, we have a deadline now. We need all of your things that you might want to auction off by July 20th. If you can come up with some creative ideas, a restaurant gift certificate. We've had donations of a meal delivered to doors, lots of cookies, a lot of other things, a request for gardening, which we will be able to fulfill. Just all sorts of wonderful items. So send us an email at mvuufauction@gmail.com. I can give you more information, and there'll be an email coming out in the next couple of days too. Thanks.
I would just remind people to check their emails. I sent an email yesterday just kind of reminding about social distancing and masks. Some people are coming to the fellowship for church business, and just try to make sure that you're practicing best practices for safe and social distancing when you're there. That would be great for each other and for staff.
I guess that's it. So we'll go right into a gathering hymn for us this morning. This song was written by Holly Neer, and it was following the Harvey Milk assassination in 1978. Harvey Milk was an American politician and the first openly gay elected official in the state of California. She wrote this as a definite call to action. So you want to pay attention to the lyrics as we sing them. We've sung this song before, but they kind of the lyrics demand us to make sure everyone knows who we are, and that we won't be moved. That certainly we may be scared and angry, but also loving and resisting. So this is number 170 in the gray hymnal. There aren't words. This is a YouTube video done by Michelle Gallo just on a guitar. But the words are in the gray hymnal, and I believe they'll also be in the chat. So if you'd like to sing along with us, let's sing "We Are a Gentle, Angry People."
singing for our lives.
Each week, we light a chalice as a reminder of the spiritual nature of this gathering. So as we light this virtual chalice to mark entry into this sacred space, may we tend this fire always, ever vigilant and courageous in the struggle for freedom and justice for all. Please join in these words by May Sarton. Help us to be ever faithful gardeners of the Spirit. Who knows that without darkness, nothing comes to birth, and without light, nothing flowers. Each week we do set aside a few minutes to light candles, or virtual candles as it may be today, for the joys and sorrows of our community. If you have something to share, you could either write it in the chat, or since we're not that large today, just unmute your sound and give your name as you're sharing.
Hi, this is Lorna. I haven't told many people this, but I feel after this week, I need to share with you what's been going on in my household and my family. I'm gonna cry. Most of you probably know that last weekend, a fireman found a noose in his locker at the fire station in Bloomington. That fireman was my son. And he's been out of town for the last week to be safe, but he's coming back today. And I'm really very scared. A friend who was a former contractor put cameras around their house. So if anybody comes near, the cameras come on and alert them and takes photos of whoever it is. So far, they've gotten a daily photo of the neighbor coming over to feed the cats, so they know it's working. But I just needed to let you know because I need your support. Thanks.
That's horrible. Thanks for sharing though, Lorna. Our thoughts are going to be with you and your son.
I'd like to have a gratitude expressed. Anne and my youngest child, Peter, just received his master's degree in counseling psychology, and he's continuing on his way to a PhD in a couple more years.
I have a bittersweet joy. Carrie Kopnick, who was here, I don't know if she's still here. She was ordained last Saturday. That's Donna's daughter, Carrie, who came up at Minnesota Valley, and she's on her way to becoming an interfaith chaplain, and that's amazing and wonderful. And Donna was at the Zoom ordination. She was there before she passed away on Sunday, so that was a great thing for her to be able to see. And then I have a profound sorrow, and that's my nephew was riding his bike early in the morning on was it Wednesday, and he was struck by a car, and he is in critical condition in Fargo with traumatic brain injury and some other injuries. It's very devastating. He's 16. He is showing some signs of being irritated with oral care in his mouth and has squeezed a couple people's hands back. So encouraging. But I appreciate the support that I've gotten from some of the congregants who follow me on Facebook and know about that. And I'm grateful that I have a job that in the coming months lets me work from Fargo if I need to. So thanks for all your support for that.
Carlin has said that Brian and her are celebrating their 13th wedding anniversary tomorrow. So congratulations. 13 years.
This is Barb Gilliand. I tuned in a little late, but I want to thank whoever put together the lovely slides of Luella and Donna. It was very meaningful to me, and I will miss them both.
We also have to think now positive thoughts for Andrea and her son who tested positive for COVID. And Holly has asked for a candle for her brother-in-law who is in the hospital. I think we can then light a final candle for the joys and sorrows that remain in our hearts. We do have Lark on recording singing the response. So if everybody would like to join in. Let's now take a moment to contemplate this July 4th meditation that I found on the UUA website by Maureen Kaloran. I'll read this and then we'll have a moment of silence afterwards. Spirit of life and love, I come before you, black and brown and red and yellow and alabaster. I come longing for the simpler days that truly never were our lot. And I am an American. Hear these voices as in the complexity of our days. I am a humanist and Christian, Muslim and Jew, pagan and atheist and Buddhist and you. And I am an American. I am one who fought for my country and at the same time, one who protested war. And I am an American. Amongst the division of our days, I've struggled in poverty and I've accepted the profits of wealth. And I am an American. I am an owner of weapons, and I am one who would control our nation's guns by limiting the who's and the what's and the how's. And I am an American. As light is shown on our divisions, I live with often unacknowledged privilege, and I am moved to rage at the complexity of intersecting oppressions. And I am an American. In the challenge of our days, I am one who supports my country, right or wrong. And I am one who claims the tradition of dissent. And I am an American. In this polarized season, I am a Democrat, I am a Republican, I am libertarian, and I am independent. I am green, and I'm confused. And I am an American. Spirit of hope, sit with us in our diversities. Help us hear one another in our divisions. Grant that, beginning in this community, we may honor one another's truths and know that a just and faithful tomorrow begins here in our hearts. For with all our problems, with all our pain, with all our limitations and mistakes, we are Americans. May it be so, and amen. This is a community of shared responsibility. All our summer donations are going to go to the general fund. So please go to the website while we sing this next song or at any time, and please give what you can. You know, when we live lives of integrity, service, and joy, generosity is sure to follow. So this song that we're going to do here during this time is referred to as the Black National Anthem. We've sung this before. It's actually was written as a poem by James Weldon Johnson in 1900 and set to music by his brother J. Rosamond Johnson in 1905. The song is a prayer of thanksgiving for faithfulness and freedom, with imagery evoking the biblical exodus from slavery to the freedom of the promised land. So I invite you in singing or just listening, but with deep reference and reverence for the meaning that this song has to the Black community across the country. This is number 149 in the hymnal, Lift Every Song.
Rejoicing, rise high. Tom, can you unmute yourself?
Thought I did. Sorry, thought I did. Ed James is now going to tell us what our grandparents knew.
I think I did it. Oh, okay. Well, good morning. Technology is not my strong suit. In fact, it's well down on the list. So one of my personal heroes is Richard. Thank you very much, Richard, for your help. For the better part of my life, I've had the pleasure of knowing I was lucky enough to live in the greatest country in the world. It was not a matter of personal pride because I knew I was just a recipient, if you will, of the honor. My ancestors were the ones that deserved the praise. They were the ones that earned the credit. They were, by virtue of that, they knew that what they had needed to be defended. Our ancestors understood that they were living the American dream of freedom, of democracy. They knew that dream was not a promise. They had seen it struggle through the Civil War, World War I, the Great Depression, World War II, Korea, Vietnam. Some of them were immigrants who came from totalitarian countries. And they knew firsthand the value of democracy. They knew that freedom was more than something they just got to live in. They knew that it was something worth defending, worth even dying for. And they backed that up with personal action. In World War II, they didn't just sit there and wait for a professional army to fight their war. They did it themselves. And it wasn't just the average citizen. The famous Kennedy family, for instance, sent two sons to war, Joe and his brother John, JFK. Both were heroes. John survived and was decorated. Joe was killed in action and received the Navy Cross. The Bush family sent George H.W. Bush to war. He also became a decorated hero, shot down in action, and then rescued by more heroes on a US submarine. When World War II broke out, my father had just begun a very promising career with the federal government. And he immediately quit that job and enlisted in the Navy. He was commissioned a lieutenant and sent to Pensacola as a flight instructor. His older brother, Al, gave up a career as a pilot with Pan American Airlines and enlisted in the Navy as a enlisted man. This was not unusual. People everywhere did whatever they could. My best friend's dad was too old for the military, so they packed up and moved to California. They worked in the shipyards. My friend's dad was an immigrant. If you called any of these people heroes, they would laugh at you probably and say they were just doing their job as American citizens. To me, they were the embodiment of the human spirit. Well, I came into the picture during the Great Depression. It was a very difficult time for my parents and for pretty much everybody except me. I was the only one in the family who never missed a meal. No one told me that, but I found out later as I grew older and I started looking at pictures from during the Depression. And there I was, this robust, fat little baby, you know, and everyone else in those photographs was skinny as a rail. When World War II came to this country on what we now refer to as Pearl Harbor Day, I was 5 years old. But I remember how it brought people together, not just by feelings, but by actions. Many went to war. Many changed jobs and worked for the war effort. Whole companies changed their production towards products for the war. The Ford Motor Company right here in St. Paul built tanks. In fact, my wife Kat's father was one of the people that worked on that line. And in Michigan, Ford built B-24 bombers. In fact, they built 18,000 of them. That is not a typo. Ford built 18,000 B-24 bombers. They turned out one bomber every hour, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And that's from scratch, from nothing to a test flown airplane. By the way, there were no computers back then. The Singer's Sewing Machine Company, believe it or not, constructed Colt 45 pistols for our troops. I always thought that was kind of interesting. The auto industry stopped making vehicles for citizens' use and made them for the military. Gasoline and oil were very strictly rationed, as was butter and sugar and many other food items. People everywhere started victory gardens. Recycling came into being. One of my jobs was to clean and crush tin cans. My grandfather, a former Marine who was disabled from a stroke, became a neighborhood air raid warden. And he had me named as a junior air raid warden, and I would accompany him on his rounds. They even gave me a little hard hat. Of course, I had no real effect on the war effort, but it was just another way of getting everyone involved, everyone. So what happened? How did we fail? Why do so many people today feel they are entitled to the benefits of being an American citizen without having understood the requirements for citizenship, without doing their part, without understanding that in a successful democracy, everyone needs to be involved? I know I personally learned by example. I saw what others did, and I tried to follow their example. I did so because these people were my personal heroes. In recent months, thousands of people right here in the United States have died and are still dying from a rogue virus. We in the United States have not handled the situation very well at all. Many of our leaders have run in circles trying to avoid personal blame rather than working to improve the situation. Their behavior, in my opinion, has been disgraceful. And I ask myself, where did we go wrong? I think we can all agree that not everyone in this country is treated equally. After 400 years of racial injustice, we have to understand that the problem will not solve itself. And we must work systematically to correct it, not just to give up and revert to totalitarianism. Well, I'd like to say I have done better with my family. I'd like to say I taught my children the value of democracy. I'd like to say I taught them how to protect our democracy. I'd like to say I did my job. but apparently that is not so. I taught my children that one of the most destructive things that they could do was to lie, because it left an indelible mark upon their character. No one would trust them in the future. Apparently, I was wrong. They understood the message about not lying, but they didn't understand that that advice applied not only to them, but to the leaders they selected. I thought I taught them that personal integrity was the key to an effective life. And while they got that, they apparently didn't get the point that integrity is more than a list of personal rules to follow. Integrity is a state of mind, a state of being. It is an essential part of who we are as individuals, as families, as neighbors, and as citizens. And it applies to all of us, most especially to our leaders, our role models. The protection of our democracy is not an issue to be taken lightly. There is a clear and present danger, not for the distant future, but for today. Some of you may have read an article not too long ago, the basis of which came from a Scottish professor, an Alexander Tyler, way back in about 1787. The professor was referring to the fall of the Athenian Republic some 2,000 years ago. Now, I know this is ancient history, if you will, but please stay with me. Professor Tyler asserted that all democracies are temporary in nature and simply cannot exist as permanent forms of government. He said a democracy will continue to exist up until the time that voters discover they can vote themselves generous gifts from the public treasury. He went on to say they will always progress through the following sequence. And Richard, can you put that list up, please? Thank you. They will progress from bondage to spiritual faith, from spiritual faith to great courage, from courage to liberty, from liberty to abundance, from abundance to complacency, from complacency to apathy, from apathy to dependence, and from dependence back into bondage. Thank you, Richard. Well, you can make your own assessments as to where we are right now. But I would very much like to prove the professor wrong. Now, Ronald Reagan is not really on my all-time favorite presidents list, but he surely had his moments. And this is one of his quotes that I thought really hit the mark. He said, "Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. We didn't pass it on to our children in the bloodstream. It must be fought for, protected, and handed on for them to do the same." Well, thank you, Mr. President. In 1941, after the attack on Pearl Harbor, Imperial Japanese Admiral Yamamoto allegedly said, "I fear all we have done is to awaken a sleeping giant and fill him with terrible resolve." Well, my friends, I believe the giant has once again fallen asleep, and we must awaken him before it is too late. Well, I know this is some pretty heavy stuff. I'd like to close with a short video that I believe is a little bit lighter. A video, please, Richard. I see trees are green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and for you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, the bright, blessed day, the dark, sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? And they're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry, I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Wow. Thank you very much, Ed, for sharing with us. And it is a world full of wonder. We're going to have an opportunity for discussion in the chat rooms after the closing words. So if you would please join in saying these words to extinguish the chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. So blessing remains a powerful and permissible tool, an activity as old as human history. And in this pandemic time, still effective, essential, and capable of being shared without transmitting the virus. We are reminded that wisdom is not solely about facts or knowledge, but about deeper meanings, about learning through the full range of human experience, laughter, confusion, anger, love. I'd like to close with two quotes, one from Oprah Winfrey and the other from Albert Einstein. Oprah said, "Real integrity is doing the right thing, knowing that no one's going to know whether you did it or not." Einstein said, "The world we have created is a product of our thinking. It cannot be changed without changing our thinking." May it be so.